Shauna for any amount and feeling all the emotions because she just is so sweet and so filled with the Lord. And so I'm so excited. She is an owner of a Chick-fil-A in Chandler. So she's got so much experience in leadership and running teams and how leadership is not just in your job or different things, but how that kind of plays into your whole life. And so she is going to be speaking to us about that. And this is Shauna.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jordan. Okay, so I thought we would start with a little giveaway. Do I go over here?
Mike, grab the mic off the stand.
Hello.
No, you can take it off the
I'm
stand.
going to play the keyboard and talk. Just kidding. Okay, so I'm going to stay here for just a second. So I'm trying to figure out how we could do this. I guess if you think you know the answer, just jump up. So or raise your hand. You don't have to jump up. Raise your hand or something, and Lisa, can you be the spotter? Okay. Okay, so I thought this would just be sort of fun, and we'll start with this. Okay, so we'll start with true or false. This is true or false. What is the number one ordered menu item at Chick-fil-A? You think you know? Next.
The original chicken sandwich. Hamburgers. Chicken mini.
This hard one.
Peach milkshake.
That's a no.
Salad. Chicken salad.
No.
Diet lemonade.
No. In the back.
Mac and cheese.
No, over here.
French fries.
The waffle fries! You get it right. So you can come up with 3 something out of that. Okay, so sorry, that was harder than I thought it would be. Oh. Okay, next question. Are you ready? So how could I do this? Okay. Chick-fil-A is the largest buyer of what in the world? This might be hard. And I'll tell you, it has to do with a drink. Yes. So they purchase more lemons every year than the whole country of Japan uses to make our lemonade, because it's from lemons. So you get a prize. Okay. This should be good for the younger people who have TikTok. Okay. What is the name of the Chick-fil-A Hawaiian-themed restaurant? Anybody know? It's like gone viral on TikTok. Nobody? Oh, wow. Okay, it's called Truett's Luau. And he started this business, and now there's this guy that's running it, the operator. He makes these crazy videos, and they have like Polynesian sauce and all these tropical kind of things. And the line goes around and around, like people are all flooding in. So you may want to go there sometime. All right, and then, what's another one? Try to find, okay. Okay, does anyone know who the founder of Chick-fil-A is, what his name is? Yes, Truett Cathy. Yay, give her a hand. Okay, and the last one, this might be hard, I don't know. Does anyone know what the A in Chick-fil-A stands for? If you're in the food business at all. Chick-fil-A? Okay, it stands for grade A chicken. Yeah, isn't that cool? Okay, and then true or false? Chick-fil-A in 2014 decided to go antibiotic-free in their chicken. True or false? Raise your hand. True. Did you already win? Okay, you're a winner. True. So a lot of people don't know this, that the meat is antibiotic-free. And that's good because we all care about our health, right? Okay, so that's, maybe I'll do more later, but that's what I had for now. That's your trivia. So last night, a little bit about our family. I have 2 boys. My oldest is at ASU studying construction management, which I never would have thought he would do that because we always thought he'd be like in the military or something, but he really loves it. And so he's there, and our youngest, Ben, is a senior. And just last night, we were in Safford. We got back at 2 a.m, and they played football up there, and he had 4 quarterback sacks, against an undefeated team. So we were flying high. So it was pretty fun. I'm a little bit like, okay, here we go. But and my husband, obviously, he's at the restaurant right now. So I get to come do the fun things because we had about 4 call-outs this morning. And so running a business of any kind, you have a lot of challenges, right? So today what I thought I would do is, I was like, there's so many things I could talk about with leadership, but I first wanted to establish how I feel like we're all invited to this leadership conversation. And I think sometimes there's this image in our minds maybe that we're not a leader, and that a leader looks like maybe something other than what I think it does. Can we show that first picture? If it's there. So this is, I feel like, what sometimes we think. Do you ever see that in your head? Like, oh, that's what a leader looks like. And it absolutely can look like that, but it doesn't always look like that. So I found a better picture of what I think. And it's this. The next one. Yep. Okay, isn't that true, though? You're a leader if anybody's following you. And we all have somebody following us, and they're watching what we do. And I would say, if I don't make any other sense today, we all need to be invited to the table. And I think if we don't recognize we're having influence and that we're a leader, maybe we won't steward it as well because we think, oh, it doesn't matter. And it comes across as maybe humility sometimes, but I think we actually give away some of our power. And not like power to boss people, but power to show people. Because if we're walking towards Jesus and we're walking towards love and kindness, you want people to see that, and then they feel safe and they're going to follow you. And so I just want to make sure we're all invited. So if you're a leader, raise your hand. Everybody's a leader because we all have somebody watching, right? So I thought we would just go through a lot of the things that I believe Chick-fil-A teaches that apply to your life, no matter what you do. And one of the reasons I believe they are so successful is that at the heart of this business, the founder, Truett Cathy, I'm going to share some of his story with you because when I started learning about him, I would just cry watching his videos, and I couldn't figure it out. But he reminds me of my granny. And she came out of the Great Depression just like him. And there's something so humble and yet very, like they stand in who they are. They're very confident, but yet loving. And I think that these principles, he essentially takes biblical principles. He was at the heart of who he was a Sunday school teacher for years. And he grew up in poverty. His father never recovered from the Great Depression. And so his mom was the breadwinner. And so he grew up in a very unique environment where he learned to be an entrepreneur to survive. And he would sell Coke bottles, and I have a little video about it. But the heart of a company, just like the heart of a family, when you get to know the parents, you kind of get a vibe of what's happening. And so I thought I would share these things, and I hope it doesn't feel like I'm absolutely not trying to do a commercial, but I was going to talk, and then I thought, well, these are things I really believe apply to us, and they do such a good job of communicating it that I thought I'd pop videos in and out, and you get the privilege of seeing kind of how we train our team. And I believe it will help you as well in your life. So if we can start with that first one, we are Chick-fil-A. I just thought I'd throw in kind of what the company's about if you've never heard of it.
We cook, but we don't just serve sandwiches. We serve meals made from good ingredients, warm and cared for from the time they're cooked to the moment they're served.
We prepare, but not just a meal, an experience. Everything we do is with the greatest of care. A clean table, a pair of pickles laid on a bun just so. Our love is wrapped up in the little things, the in-between things that aren't said but are always felt.
We believe with all our hearts that kindness is a higher calling. We want to know people, to nourish them. We love seeing individuals, teams, and communities brighten lives by caring for others.
We build on a legacy of one man's pioneering spirit, his faithful stewardship, his vision that being your best requires hard work, that local ownership isn't just unique, it's the best way to do business, and that giving generously can help good to grow.
We are more than a restaurant. We're a home.
Where the hugs are just as tender as the chicken, the smiles just as sweet as the lemonade, and the conversations just as nourishing as the meal.
To those we serve, we're neighbors.
Friends.
Family.
We are Chick-fil-A.
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 Okay, so one of the reasons I love that video is it looks like you're at, I mean, if you think about your own home or your own experiences, a lot of those things it looks like your house. It looks like a family event. And so I think and they say it's like home. So we all have a home, and I think all these principles will apply. So what I wanted to do next was talk about Truett's life. And one of the things that at the heart of who he was, he would always say this. He'd say, we're not just in the chicken business, we're in the people business. And that people they are what thrives and they're what fails. He said, businesses don't fail. People, he would never say people fail, but that the business thrives or it struggles because of the people and how they're leading and what they're doing. And I love that. Like, so, any business we're in, anything we're doing, it's all about people. And I think it can be so easy, especially, I don't know, I feel like with all the tech stuff, numbers, same for us, numbers. We have 6,000 people on average that come through our store every day. And we are a low volume store compared to these big ones on freeways and stuff. And we're a neighborhood store. And you'd think, and Scott was telling me, he's like, on busy days, you have 8,000 people coming through. And so the numbers can begin to overwhelm you and you lose the story. And one of the things that we always focus on at Chick-fil-A is talking about every life has a story. And we try to develop that awareness in our youngest team members because a lot of them, it's their first job. But I think this video, it's a little bit dated, but I still use it. It's called Every Life Has a Story. And I think that you'll enjoy it because it's really a powerful concept that can apply to all of us, I think. So for that video, I think it's so powerful because in a more selfish society, as a leader, it's so critical that when I have someone walk through the door, or my kid comes in grumpy, or my husband comes in the door and he's out of sorts, if we could see the little bubbles above each other's head, can you imagine how much nicer and more patient we would be? And so I think this is a really great way to develop as a leader, is to imagine before they come in, not what they didn't do that you needed them to do, but ask the question, what's going on today? Even when I used to teach junior high, and sometimes the kids would be wonky, out of control, and I'm like, what is going on in this classroom? And I remember someone taught us at a conference that if a person normally acted one way but started to act really out of character, not to say something in front of everyone, but to take them out, and I thought maybe worse, but they said, go ahead and pull them off to the side, not in an embarrassing way, but just ask them, is something going on? And I would say 98% of the time, it was a lot of times it was the boys that would act out, and there'd be something really serious happening, and they'd kind of, let their guard down. And that happens to us a lot, right? With our kids, sometimes they don't want to tell us. I have a teenager, and it's a challenge to know how to approach them when they're hurting, So I think as a leader, people can feel whether you're coming at them with, hey, you didn't do this for me. And obviously people, if you're going to lead people, and even our family, our kids, like you're the one that's supposed to be leading, but I think you have to slow down like the little ducks and, check on them and show kindness and not just allow our goal-driven task to lop heads off right and left. You don't even know why, people are shook. So, and there's always the rare case where you need to use some discipline or, be more bold in your communication with someone. And we do have, Scott's talked about this a lot. He was a police officer before for 20 years. I want to say 25. I can't remember. It was a long time. And he retired, and he's such a rules person, and he's like, what I've had to learn is that even if I get taken advantage of, that's actually the better way to go, and show a little bit of grace when it comes to people, because you just never know when you're dealing with that many people. And I'm sure as pastors and leaders, you have a lot of that as well. And so the next part that I was trying to think of all the things that really stand out to me about Truett, Kathy, and about what they do. And so I would like to play the story about his life just so you get a little bit better picture of who he was. He's since passed, and his son, Dan Kathy, is now the CEO of the company, but it's still the legacy's still going. So if we can play that one, that'd be awesome.
A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1. S. Truett Cathy, a larger-than-life character who flourished from despair and lived his life to inspire and enable others to do the same. He was the embodiment of humility and patience, service and grace. A good name indeed. Born during the Depression, Truett learned the value of hard work and customer service at a very young age. He was a true entrepreneur, not just a business owner. Today, his ideas, ideals, and legacy live on through his cherished family, friends, and business. He was the inventor of the chicken sandwich, but known for so much more. Truett gave millions of dollars to allow students to attend college and campers to experience the summer of a lifetime. He established dozens of foster homes and countless philanthropies. He was a remarkable man, husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and friend. Today, we celebrate the life and legacy of Truett Cathy. Thank you, Truett.
It's been my pleasure.
So he chose that verse. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches for his class. He had to bring a verse to school. He went to public school, and all the kids brought a verse to school. His mom helped him with this verse. And when I think about this man ended up being very wealtly. I don't know what the numbers are. Scott would know, but really, really wealthy, like wealthier than wealthy. And I mean, it's insane. But that was not his intention. And it is remarkable to me that those things can happen, but he was more concerned about his good name and about how he treated people. And it's so cool when I watch Chick-fil-A and as God grows your influence, that you can be generous. You can actually just, instead of a $10 check, you could maybe send someone to college or those kind of things. And he definitely, and the whole company, it is a good example of when God gives us something, we need to steward it well. And so I think it was I wrote it down, not that it matters to you, but I want to get it right. 1982, Chick-fil-A had their first year where they started to dip in their sales. And they had never not made a profit or an increase before. And they had built a $10 million facility in Atlanta. It's the corporate center where everybody is for the corporate office. And so they were struggling a lot. Everybody was doing the chicken sandwich, kind of like they are now. So, and they went up to a retreat, just like a lot of you would do with your family, like a vacation. So they get away for a break, and it's 10 of them. And Truett talks about how they couldn't come up. They never really talked about the financial part. That's why they met. But he said, what we did is we started saying, why are we here? And what is the purpose of what we're doing? And I think sometimes in the midst of chaos like we're in society right now, and with our family and our kids and everything we're doing, it's like, what are we doing? Why are we here? And this is such a beautiful thing. They didn't have a corporate purpose before. And hopefully I believe this purpose is like beautiful for everyone. It says, so they came out of this and it said, to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that is entrusted to us, and have a positive influence on all who come into contact with Chick-fil-A. But you can put your own name in there, to glorify God, be a faithful steward of all that's entrusted to me, and have a positive influence on everyone that I meet today. And it's so simple, but it's very profound. Because when that's what you're coming back to, it just simplifies things. Because don't you think sometimes it's too complicated? And it's like, I don't know what to do. Just get back to basics. And it's so, it's not easy, but it's clear what the goal would be. And when we went to the corporate office, when Scott was chosen to be the operator, it showed it in the video, but this huge concrete monument that has that carved in stone right out front of the building. And from that year forward, they have never had a year where they didn't make a profit since then, by a lot. And so I think if we get our priorities right, that doesn't, but the fruit of a good family, it's not always about money, but that growth. I mean, I was thinking about this, how this man changed our life. And it's just remarkable. And then the lives that we get to influence, it's just, if you guys, I don't have time to tell the stories of the kids that come through. And they need what's in these commercials in their heart. So what my job specifically is, and we've had to kind of figure out what our roles are going to be. But I really feel like God has called me to equip and teach and encourage our team, and then they can do it for everybody else. So how corporate, just how Truett inspires us, and they all pour into us, and then we pour into them, and then they pour into you. And it is it's such an honor and a privilege, but it can get overwhelming. And when I watch this stuff, I'm like, okay, you just do the simple things. Just be kind. You don't have to fix everything. And I really think something hard that I've learned that over these last 3 years, because the numbers are so large. I think sometimes as a leader, we think we're supposed to fix it. Sometimes as a parent, we think we're supposed to fix it. As a friend, I need to help him fix that. I think that's more of a guy trait, but I have it, and I think I'm supposed to fix it. And I know most women are like, just listen. And so but what I've been really challenged to is as I watch the leadership and it's like, we need to teach and equip and say, this is how you actually get into the chair. You don't go and pick, if people fall down, I can't go pick up 100 people and set them in the chair. But I can say, okay, you put your arm here, and then you're gonna pull, and if you need a friend to hold on to your chair, depending on what the situation is. And so we do a lot of financial counseling. A lot of people are in debt. I mean, these are very practical things that we end up trying to help teach. And a lot of these biblical principles just absolutely translate practically to the real world, and it is mind-boggling. And we've had so many young people come to know the Lord. And I mean, I for years prayed that, I used to lead worship and stuff, which is, it's beautiful, and I loved it. And I didn't understand the transition that we were going through. But what I feel like God is doing is put us in a place where you can use all the things I've learned practically with people who've never, I didn't even think this was possible, because I thought everyone knows about the Lord. They don't. In this town, in this community. And I don't know why that is so hard for me to understand. I mean, they've heard of God, but when they begin to work with other people and see these things, just like anyone who's your friend, actions will speak so much louder. And we are in an environment where there is no time to talk. We got stuff to do, so it's like you're going to have to just be an example. I would say that the most powerful person in my own life of that was thinking, I'm an outgoing person, and I have all these things that I've done in my life, and I was trying to think, like, who's the most impactful leader on my life? It is for sure, with no doubt, my mom. She's shy, she is kind, and she's probably never gonna come up front. But I was undone thinking about the years and years of conversations, and that the most powerful leaders are gonna be available to people. And I would say my mom has taught us, just by how she lives. And so I know this is, it just kind of hit me all of a sudden. You'd think I'd figure this out. I was going to recommend a book or something, and I thought, no, I'm just telling about my mom. And that maybe we don't realize, even as a kid, how much of that is going in. And so much of how I think and respond are because I watched her and was around her. So just your proximity to people, if there's people in our life that maybe are struggling as a leader, I really think just getting in the room with them. You don't have to have a plan. You don't have to have an agenda. You don't have to have a task. You don't need to make people feel like they need your help, because they just need you. They need someone to care. And that's so simple. It really is. It just takes time, which, that's another thing. All right. Is everybody doing okay? Okay. So I'm talking about stewardship. And, okay, this is right. So I thought one of the things when a great leader or someone that's really inspiring passes on, what happens is everybody tells their stories about you. I thought, I think it's a good thing once in a while when you have a moment to think, what kind of stories would people tell about you? And just for that intentional, what do I want my grandkids to remember, so that I am a little more intentional. And there's so many stories about Truett, and mostly he was the kind of person that would just come in a room and do something. So I'm going to show you this testimony from, her name's Margaret Phillips. She's an operator. I think it's a pretty cool story.
I will never forget becoming an operator for the first time in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I was very interested in making sure that the food was right before I started worrying about the building, the actual store. So I was working one day, and Truett happened to walk in, and it was a surprise. And whenever you see him coming towards you, you sort of take a deep breath and you hope everything is exactly right. And so I met him halfway into the dining room, and we greeted and hugged, and he told me that he saw that we were busy for lunch, so I should go head back to work, and he would see me later. So he walked down the mall, and I continued doing what I was doing, and about 15 minutes later, he's walking towards me for a second time with Bubba, and they're carrying a stepladder and a bag from Sears. And I think, what's going on? And without saying a word to me, they put that stepladder on the lease line area and climbed up that ladder and started changing light bulbs for me. I hadn't even realized that all the light bulbs in the lease line were out. I didn't even know there were light bulbs there. They were all recessed. And so I watched him climb up the ladder, change the bulb, get down, and move to the next one. And he did that for the whole perimeter. And then just as quickly, he vanished. And so he never criticized me. In all the years I knew him, he never said an unkind word to me. He always treated me with the utmost respect. He always saw things in me that I didn't see in myself, and as a result, I never wanted to disappoint him. So it made me try even harder to be my very best.
All right. So I just think we can see ourselves in those stories, and that sometimes the sly helping, that makes such an impact on people. And so I believe my time is up, so I'm going to wrap this up. But that I just wanted to try to make the point that we're all leaders, and that if we get back to some of these basics, I think we can really make an impact on one life at a time. And that, yeah, that's all I've got. So thanks for listening.
Thank you, Shauna. You guys see what I'm saying? She can have you laughing and crying in a matter of minutes. You are so sweet. Thank you.
Love you.
Okay, so we're going to have like a 5-minute just intermission little break, so you can grab some of the snacks that are on your table, help yourself, grab some drinks. There are water and lemonade in the foyer. Go to the bathroom and just really chat with the women at your table, kind of get to know them, and then I'll introduce our next speaker in just about 5 or so minutes.